The U.S. Supreme Court may have just saved major urban cities from their own homeless crisis by the decision in the Grants Pass versus Johnson ruling. We're going to go to WLBT here in just a second to get the local opinion on it. And then I'll, of course, give mine because you know I have an opinion on it. First, I apologize for no videos today. Your boy's been a little bit under the weather. Had to go to the doctor, get a Decatron shot. It's July. The hotter the weather, the more my allergies mess up. Some people's do it during the winter. Mine does it during the summer. Every July or August, your boy gets a little sick. But hey, neither here nor there. I'm alive. I'm well. Shout out to Men's Health of Mississippi for hooking me up. You can, of course, get out there and see them today for all of your testosterone replacement needs as well as your personal physician needs. Check them out online, menshealthms.com. Of course, you can always just text my name, Clay, and get scheduled for a free testosterone screening today. Text Clay to 601-327-8550. If you're suffering from fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido, that's your sex drive, brain fog, or sleep disturbances, it could be a symptom of low testosterone. One more time, text Clay to 601-327-8550. And of course, as always, if you like the shirt I'm wearing here, I got my Vote Felon, Make Liberals Cry Again. Shirts available. They're in stock and ready to ship now. Picked a fresh order of them up today. I hadn't been doing nothing. I have been working. Just hadn't had a chance to make videos. Here's the link. You can see it right here on the bottom corner of your screen there. Buyfafo.com. All right, let's jump into it. I'll leave that up there at the bottom in case you guys can't remember the name of the screen. Let's go to WLBT and see what they got to say about it.
With more details, Nathan.
Courtney, and the ruling on the case named Grants Pass versus Johnson is the biggest decision on homelessness that we have seen at a national level in decades. It gives some power back to the cities to establish their own punishment for people sleeping and camping outside. But will it fix the problem? One Jackson homelessness organization doesn't think so.
If a city decides to exercise its right to penalize somebody for their position in life, that's a terrible place to be.
Executive Director with Hearts for the Homeless, Devine, couldn't believe the Supreme Court's decision to allow cities to create its own punishment for those that sleep or camp in public places. But how did we get here? It started on June 28th when the justices came to a 6-3 decision to overturn a ruling from a California-based appeals court. That former ruling found it cruel and unusual under the 8th Amendment to punish people for sleeping outside if they had nowhere else to go, but now that is no longer the case. Before the recent ruling, cities had been allowed to regulate homeless encampments, but could not completely stop people from sleeping outside. Devine believes this ruling will only make things worse and pleads for Jackson to not punish anyone in these conditions.
I mean, look at that. Why wouldn't you punish them? And you got to punish. You don't have to lock people up, but start figuring it out. You know, hold some people accountable. Don't let them take over a whole area. I think there's reasonable expectations here that we understand that bad things happen and we live in a Biden economy. It's rough out there. I completely understand. But there's no reason for all this in the middle of a city park on a vacant lot. You know, stay in your car, sleep in your car, clean up a little bit. I get it. Like, nobody's telling you you can't get out your car. But also don't turn it into a damn junkyard.
I pray that Jackson doesn't use this as an opportunity to persecute those who are suffering. This is what I pray. It's very difficult when we're dealing.
I want to say this, and I'm sure he is a good man. I do not want to come across like I'm, say anything negative about him. But these bleeding hearts that really do this a lot, one thing they tend to forget is most of this is self-inflicted. A lot of these folks, not all, a lot, chose drugs. The drug addictions took precedence over their families, their friends, their jobs. Then it causes mental illness, paranoid schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, all of these other things. At the end of the day, my guess, based on having ran a business downtown for a decade, dealing with a bunch of homeless people, and growing up in Jackson my whole life, my guess is most of these people's problems are self-inflicted because of drug abuse. Let's continue.
Dealing with the struggles of life, very hard. And for us as a people who have to put the extra burden on people who don't have, that makes no sense.
We reached out to the city of Jackson for a comment on its plans, and while they understand the major homelessness issue throughout the capital city, they say they're looking at ways to help these people rather than punish them.
Real quick, you'll go to this park here, I think that's Smith Park, or it's either that one right at West Capitol Street. If you're going from downtown towards the zoo, it's right there on the left. You can walk through there in the old Atmos Energy parking lot. We've gone there and fed the homeless before, while people say I don't do anything. And you can walk around, you can just see all the drug needles and syringes just completely littered the area. You would never want to take your kids to a park in Jackson, Mississippi because of the crime from the thugs. See the Jane Avenue Park shooting, carjacking. They ran over a kid just a couple weeks ago, amongst any other, Battlefield Park and all of them. But you go there, do you want to take a kid to a park that's got a bunch of homeless people and a bunch of syringes and drug use and all that everywhere and being harassed by addicts? See, we love to wrap that up and call it homeless, and you're not supposed to be allowed to talk about it. But we call it what most of them really are, addicts, and it's a different story.
One of those efforts from the city is the tiny house village for the homeless, which is something Devine loves to see rather than punishment.
And here we go, rewarding these people. Mr. Beast did this over in a little different country in South America, I believe, last month or at some point in time, and gave these homes to homeless people, and they turned around immediately and sold them and were back high and homeless by the end of the day. Google it.
The only answer to homelessness, of course, is homes. Mm-hmm. So take the Jackson Resource Center project, where they're building tiny homes for the homeless. That's a beautiful project. It has met with some flack, but
as it should.
We pray that it goes forward to help the people of Jackson. That's the only way that we can solve this problem.
While many are against this rule, it's just the most recent effort to combat homelessness. According to the Associated Press, this ruling comes after homelessness in the United States grew a dramatic 12% last year, with more than 650,000 people estimated to be homeless. Nathan Lee, 3 on your side.
All right, so Clay's thought and opinion here. First off, that growth in homelessness came particularly on the West Coast, where cities like Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland made drug use legal. And oh yeah, by the way, they pay drug addicts to be drug addicts. They give them safe drug taking areas, safe syringe depositories, whatever you want to call it. They encourage this type of stuff. And then they give people places to live. In Los Angeles, they just built a homeless skyscraper. And they're building, I think, 2 more for homeless people. Free places to live. Or they got to get like 30% of their income if they work. It's a bunch of little caveats. But at the end of the day, it is for homeless people. That's a fact. I ain't being hyperbolic. Jackson does, in fact, have a homeless problem. Is it to that level? I would say no, but it is getting bad. But I do not for one second believe that the wokest, most radical, worst racist mayor in the United States of America, Chakwe Lumumba, and this corrupt, idiotic city council, for the most part, I do not believe for one second that they will do anything about this. Because at the end of the day, they're just a bunch of bleeding heart liberals. So that's my thoughts and opinions. What do you guys think about it? There are some great homeless people in this town that are doing great work for homeless people, and I don't want to diminish what they're doing. But take any random interstate exit in Jackson, and you have the vagrant, you got the bums, you got them. There's a couple of them that are super violent that sit right there at the Lakeland Drive exit in front of St. Dominic's off 55. I put a video on my Instagram the other day of them fighting one another. This is a problem. Pandering to them isn't going to help the problem. They need to put some teeth on some laws and let law enforcement be able to do something with these folks. If nothing else, just make their life more inconvenient than it already is. Just allowing them to post up with no consequences or repercussions. I mean, look at gas stations where they allow soliciting, loitering, all of that stuff. It's bad for business. First off, you run a very, very high probability of getting shot at any random Jackson gas station. And then you're also having to deal with bums asking you for money, homeless people asking you for money at red lights, at gas stations. It's terrible for local commerce. Anyway, tune into the Clay Edwards Show every Monday through Friday where we tell the truth, unlike most are willing to. I can count on one hand, less than one hand, the media outlets in this town that'll tell you the truth about this kind of stuff. I don't want to name them because I'll leave somebody off and they'll get offended. But if you're watching this, you probably know who I'm talking about. We got some good media outlets. We got some that ain't. Again, tune into my radio show Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 103.9 FM, WYAB. You can always download the podcast. It's usually available by 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time every Monday through Friday on all major podcasting platforms, including Podbean, Apple, Spotify, this place right here, YouTube. Search my other channel, Clay Edwards Show, and you'll find it. Peace out.